Welcome to JK Adven Monday Night Live. Please welcome your host, Kenny. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Monday Night Live. I hope that intro is pretty cool for everybody to kind of watch. We're going to do that every time we start up to kind of get everyone pumped up for a awesome show tonight. So, how was everybody's 4th? Because we had a really good time here in Alberta. Tragic loss, though, with somebody around here. So we want to kind of wish for the best for the family on some of that stuff. So always be safe. Always make sure you guys are keeping track of your kids and whatnot. So it's kind of a tragic thing that happened. So, but for the most part, the 4th of July around here was pretty good. Nobody really got hurt. And yeah. So we're going to be talking a little bit about RV living tonight with kids. You know, one of the things that a lot of people have asked as far as they see the rig when we travel, they're like, you live in that rig with kids? It's like, yeah, we've set it up and situated it with that. So that's what we're going to talk about. Organization, kid traveling, all that kind of stuff. And we're going to get started right now with that. If you guys aren't familiar with the channel, we do RV living and motorcycle enthusiast forms as far as traveling all over, doing all sorts of different things, and we like to do it in our RV as well as our motorcycle. We have a 2020 road glide that we actually take around, and if you guys haven't seen some of that stuff, check out some of our other videos. We post out some of that stuff where we went to Utah, we checked out a really old mining town, and we've done all sorts of different other travel videos as far as with the RV and whatnot. We're going to try to get back into that, but we're doing more of a live where we want to interact with you guys. We want to see who's out there, get your guys' comments, get some of your guys' information and feedback to us, and let's have an interaction instead of more just a one-way, us going to talk to you guys that way. So that's our goal, is to try to work that into a live and see what we can do. So first thing we're going to talk about, you know, one of the things when you get into RV living is the space. You're going to run into all sorts of tiny living. If you guys are not familiar with that, you guys should go check out on the Home Network and or HGTV and some of the other ones. Tiny houses. So that's basically what an RV is. It's just a tiny house on wheels. Our rig is set up where it's a Class A, and we are actually set up so that we can drive right down the road, have a motor in the back, it's considered a diesel pusher. So it's all self-contained, and we have a trailer behind us that we've decked out to be more of a toy hauler. To have storage where we have the boys and all their other stuff back there so they have their own space, as well as be able to carry around a vehicle and the motorcycle and whatnot. Now, not everybody's going to find that to be fitting for them. It works for us, but it doesn't work for some other people. Some other people would rather have a class A, a fifth wheel, which is going to be a little bit bigger. It's going to require an additional vehicle to pull it, usually a dually or a single axle diesel truck or a bigger vehicle to be able to pull that. HGTs are becoming a big thing where people take old semis and convert them, but that's going to be a preference as far as what type of RV you want to live in. So when you start getting into that, you're gonna run into space issues. You're going to run into all sorts of other things where you're not going to be the same as if you lived in the sticks and bricks. Now, this is about the size of a studio apartment, just kind of spaced out different, if that makes sense. You're going to start from the front, you're going to start from the back, depending on how you have your configuration in the fifth wheel, Class A, even tiny living in like our little Class B converted Sprinter vans. A lot of people are doing the schoolies and all that kind of stuff. It's all a matter of preference. So when you set it all up, though, you're going to run into space issues, like I said. And like I said, this is more of a studio apartment, so you have to kind of think about strategically how you're going to organize. The benefit to us and why we like it so much and why we've gone down this road is before we had so much stuff. We sold all of our stuff up in Illinois. We decided to get into this life and kind of go down this road. And as we started cleaning stuff out and selling and going through all of our stuff, I found, my wife found, my kids found stuff they haven't touched in years. That's a problem, because when you start shoving that stuff into corners and start shoving them into storage units and boxes and totes, and they get thrown up into the attic and whatnot, that becomes an issue, because what are you going to do with it later on? My 2 cents is, if you don't need it and you haven't used it in a while, you're probably never going to need it and never going to really use it again. So consider getting rid of it. Now, that's going to have an exception to some of that stuff as far as family heirloom stuff, family artifacts, all that kind of stuff that would be part of the family. So you would typically not get rid of that kind of stuff. You would want to either try to incorporate it into the RV, or you would want to get a storage unit, which some people do still. So I've seen people strategically place storage units throughout the United States, so that as they're going through and traveling throughout the United States, they can hit that up. Now, we're a different type of full-time RV living. We're more of a stationary where we stay here full time and we live in an RV just because of the way the economy is. It's a little bit more economically developed for people to be able to live a little bit better with inflation and everything else out there. Now, as you start going through and you start trying to figure out what type of RV you're going to live in, the space, once you get past all that, then you're going to go into one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is going to happen is family bonding. As you start running down the road, you start doing all your adventures, you start doing different things, you're going to realize your kids are around you more. You're going to be around your kids more, and you're going to be interacting with them more. You're going to be going and doing different things with them. So typically with a house, and you can still do it here, but typically with a house, it's so big on a house. You have their different rooms. They can go play on their video games. They can stay inside all day. They can run into all sorts of different things that would distract them from actually spending some time as a family. And Jessica just posted she's attracted to my things. I'm sorry, attached. So she's actually right behind here. She's trying to help me out with this. We're trying to learn more about the platform, so it's kind of cool that we're learning this. But as you start learning different traits and different skills, you start learning different things with this, and that's why I think it's really important for people to kind of push themselves outside the comfort zone. Now, let's get back to what we were talking about. So, one of the things that you really want to look into as a family bonding thing is what do you guys want to do as a family? Do you guys want to travel? Do you guys want to just stay stationary and then just do different things on the weekends and be like weekend full timers or part-time full timers or whatever they want to call them nowadays? What are some of the things you want to go do as a family? As far as, like, for us, we like to go travel. We like to go to some of the national parks. We like to go explore and go check out some of the history around here. We've been to multiple Civil War sites. You've seen in some of the old videos when we had the custom camper we built many years ago. We actually brought it down here to Florida for one Christmas and spent some time down there. On the way up, for New Year's Eve, we stayed there. We kind of chilled out and had a really good time at one of the forts there. Kind of saw some history on it. When we went to Utah, we actually experienced and got to spend some time with Seth there, where he got to see an old mining town. So he got to see how some of the miners used to live, as far as the houses, the post office, all that kind of stuff there. So that's definitely going to be one of the family bonding things that you want to take a look at, as far as what do you guys want to achieve when you get into this lifestyle. Educational opportunities. So that's going to be tricky, because some people are going to want to travel full time, and that you can't just enroll your kids into a school and then just go travel. It doesn't work that way. Here we have a stationary setup where our kids go here locally to high school and junior high. Now, during the summertime, we try to travel a little bit more. We try to get out. During breaks, we try to do the same thing as well and go travel and do different things as well, too. I think that's a good thing, a good opportunity for the kids to get out and go do stuff, because that leads into more outdoor lifestyle. With a small compact area, you're going to lead into not having everybody inside the RV all the time. When you have everybody inside the RV all the time, it becomes very challenging, and the space gets really cramped, which we've noticed over the last year that we've been doing this. We spend more time outside sometimes. When we go and travel, we don't really want to be at the RV. We want to go check stuff out. When we're in Utah, we literally were gone from sun up to sundown on the weekend. Went traveling. We went to the old mining town. We had some dinner. We have some footage on the video that we did there. And it was great, because you're not cooped up all the time. You're getting out. You're exploring. You're pushing yourself past sometimes your comfort zone, because it's very easy for you to get kind of caught up in the normal everyday hustle and bustle where you're just going to sit there and go to work, come home, go to work, come home, so such and so on and so forth. So for me, I'm not doing that. I wanted to change. I wanted to be able to do this kind of stuff. My goal is to continue to change and continue elaborating, to continue to teach my kids there isn't just the sticks and bricks life anymore. Since COVID, it's changed everything. Everybody got out, everybody started doing more things, everybody kind of started exploring more, and it's been great for a lot of that. COVID did change for the good and the bad. I'm not going to elaborate too much on that, but I'm just saying it did change. It changed how we look at a lot of things. And back 20 years ago, we were always taught you don't want to be living in an RV, you don't want to be living in a trailer. There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a good thing. And I think that's where an opportunity for people to kind of open their eyes and see there's another avenue for a lifestyle that you can go live, because there's a whole nother community of people out there to co-mingle with and learn their lifestyle and learn what they do. And there's not just the full-timers that travel all the time, there's stationary people too. So you got to take into consideration the education. Some people homeschool, some people will do stationary, some people will do a hybrid model where they're back for so long, the kids will go to school for a little bit and then they'll transfer to a different school. That's all a matter of preference. I can't really speak on that. That's the best behavior as far as any three of those, but educational for your kids is definitely a key thing that you really want to push for, and stability for kind of creating activities for them to be able to do. With RV living with kids and everything else is introducing them to the lifestyle and doing that. Logan the other day got to go and experience where he went fishing on a boat and go have some fun with some people. He was gone pretty much all day, and then all of a sudden, it's like I go up by the pool area. I'm talking to some of our friends up there, and he's like, all of a sudden, like, here. It's like, holy crap. It's like, where were you at? You didn't even, like, check in with us? Like, did you have a good time? Just to kind of see how everything was. So, but, yeah. So with that whole challenging for the limited space, we talked a little bit about that. I'm going to kind of skip over that portion up a little bit. If you guys have any ideas and you guys have been doing this and you're just kind of watching to see what other people are coming up with, share some of those ideas. We found plastic totes are a big thing. Storing a whole bunch of little things into a plastic tote, storing it up, and then putting it into cabinets also does a really good thing. As far as what?
I'm sorry, there was a wasp in here.
Oh, she's freaking out about a wasp. So, and that leads to another thing is you're going to still have the same issues when you have a house. You're going to still get the wasp. You're going to still get everything else. So, yeah, like decluttering is a big thing. I can tell you right now that's going to be the best space saver you guys are going to have. Save your space. Utilize what you can. If you guys aren't ever going to use it, don't buy it. Really think about that and put yourself in a position where you don't want to be taking a valuable space just for stuff to sit around. So, and we've kind of caught ourselves doing that a few times now, even still with this, and we're kind of taking a step back and be like, no. We went and wanted to make a change on this. So let's change that and let's take a step back on that. Another thing that a lot of people will find challenges on is socialization for kids. When it comes to socialization with kids, it's actually a good thing for them to kind of be introduced to this lifestyle because they get the opportunity to meet all sorts of people. They will have long-term people with the school. If you're a stationary people, if you're traveling, it'll be a little bit different. So we got a couple different breakdowns for this, but for the most part, you're going to have some long-term friends no matter where you go throughout the country. You're going to meet some people. You're going to stay connected to them. You're always going to talk to them. You're going to cross paths later on and whatnot. When you have a stationary family, you're going to meet some friends. You're going to have them in school, and then all of a sudden, you're going to have new people that come into the park, whether they're vacationing, traveling, other full-timers, whatever. You're going to meet new people. You're going to meet new personalities. That's a good thing for socialization because then you kind of learn and you kind of adapt to how people are. You learn personalities. You learn how to be a better person with other people and kind of go with that a little bit. I know a lot of people worry about that with our full-time RVing, traveling, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's a good thing because you're always gonna, no matter which park we've ever been to, we've always found where the kids have found somebody to talk to, hang out with, go have fun with. They go swimming with them. They go either to the creek and go fishing or whatever. There's all sorts of things they do. So that's actually a really good thing. Um, already kind of touched a little bit on the schooling options. So I got a little list here that I'm kind of going through as far as different things that you might want to look into as far as when you start looking at doing this. Now, one of the other things that you really want to look into is if you are like us, we're a blended family. We have my wife and her kids, and then I have myself and my kids. And sometimes it becomes a challenge. We find ourselves in difficult situations sometimes where you have to find the best balance in your relationship with her kids, my kids, and us, where we tie it all together. And so that's one thing you have to think about. If you're a blended family, are you going to have custody issues if you start traveling? Or is the other parents going to be okay with that? How do they feel about that? You always want to take that into consideration. Two, you want to make sure you build some sort of stable life for them in a blended family. No matter what, you want to build some sort of stable life for them. So that's going to be some sort of structure. Having them help out with the RV or having them help out with daily chores or different things, it's going to be no different than the sticks and bricks. Most people will ask their kids to help out with doing laundry or taking out the trash or doing some dishes. It's going to be the same thing in RV life. But the plus side to RV life and teaching some of that stuff is you get to teach a skill to them. Now, for me, if you guys aren't familiar, I'm by trade an IT guy. I do that every day. I manage networks and I go through switches and I help out with software and all sorts of different things. So, I'm kind of a technology guru. That's what people call me. Sometimes I believe it, sometimes I don't, but for the most part, I am good at what I do. I do enjoy it. But as a hobby, one thing I grew up on is as a kid is my dad taught me how to work on cars. So mechanically inclined, yes, I can work on different things. I can take stuff apart. I'm not scared to go do that. I'm not scared to reverse engineer it to figure out how it works and how to make it work or how to fix it. That's something a lot of people don't realize when you get into the RV lifestyle to save some money because some of these RV shops will cost a lot of money to do that. You want to do that. And for me, that's why having like the blended family, I was able to tear that down and teach my kids that. I taught both my sons, Xander and Darius, I taught them how to work on cars and check fluids. I've shown my daughter how to do some basic stuff, but most women rather somebody go take care of it for them, which is fine. But my two stepsons, Logan and Seth, I've been doing the same thing. I've been trying to teach them that kind of stuff, and that's where you start trying to work with a blended family. You got to have balance in your life. You have to do the same things and work with them in the same way that you typically would with your own kids. And so for me, I want to teach them that. So I give them chores as far as helping out around here. When we go traveling, when we were up in Salt Lake City, Seth was what was my go-to to help out with that kind of stuff. He would help with checking tire pressure. He would help with checking fluids. He would help with doing a walk around to make sure everything's put away, stuff's not laying around, we're not forgetting something. So teaching your kids that is actually part of the educational piece too, because that's making them self-sufficient to take care of some stuff on their own and then become more self-aware as far as what they need to be aware of when they're looking at some of the stuff. Because if you just take your RV to any mechanic out there and you know nothing about it, nothing about what the parts cost or how to fix it or anything like that, that's fine. But understand the pricing behind some of that stuff because that can become very expensive. So for me, that's why I want to teach my stepkids and my kids a little lesson as far as not being screwed over in the real world by mechanics, because I'm not saying every mechanic's this way, but we all know our fair share of mechanics out there that will find something wrong and they'll continue to dig down there, or they'll just throw parts at something because they're like, I think this is right, or I think this is wrong with it, or I think it's fixed. I don't know. We'll give it a shot. know a little bit about that, educate yourself a little bit about that, and educate your family about that so they understand more with that. One of the things that we talked about on the last trip, I told Jess is I want her to learn how to drive this thing. Anybody can drive it. Plain and simple. If you have a driver's license and you can drive a car, you can drive an RV. Plain and simple. You can do it. I'm not encouraging you just to go jump out and do it. I am encouraging you to take a class if you're not comfortable with it and you want to learn how to drive a big rig. But anybody can do it with a little time, with a little practice. Anybody can do this. So, and the reason for that is when you start getting into family travel and all that kind of stuff, if something ever happened to me, she would have to either transport this back or have it towed back, which then the tow is going to be just outrageous. But that's something you really want to look into as well too. So I kind of got a little sidetracked a little bit on that. So but part of the blended family too is when you start RVing with that, we have different standards and different things that we have put in place for our kids as far as Logan and Seth and my kids and what they do here. Now, that can be completely different on the other parent's side. Not our business, not really us to tell them how to do that. That's on them as far as how they want to parent and practice on their side as far as doing what they need to. So you got to understand there's going to be kind of a little disconnect on some of that and a little bit of a hard time for some of that stuff. So living in an RV is a lifestyle change, period. If you don't think you can do it in a small living, probably stay away from it. If you feel like you can, you're looking for a change, you're looking for adventure, you're looking for freedom to be able to just go do whatever and go have some fun at it and just go explore, take the time and do a little education, do some research, see if it's going to be a good fit for you. If it is, give it a shot. It doesn't have to be a permanent thing. But when you do make that change, make sure if you're doing it with kids, it's for the right reason. Because if you start doing it with kids and you start interrupting their flow, which just comes back to the stability of it, when you take away that could affect the way they're developed later on and just think that it's okay just to drop everything and just quit and go do something else. I'm not saying you're going to quit because it's a bad thing. It just probably won't be a fit for you. But make sure you do your research before making this lifestyle change because this is a huge change. A lot of people and families do return back to the sticks and bricks because they find that it's not for them. And so there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem with that is when you go down that and you start disrupting the kids, as far as if you start building some sort of rapport to this area, you want to keep them in that area. You just don't want to uproot them and go back to your old lifestyle somewhere else, especially if you move states away or if you're traveling. You want to try to put them back into something similar to what they know and kind of keep them on track with the educational drive and keep them going so that they're not too far behind as far as the educational gap between schools. Make sense? So, as far as like anything else, we got some main like the routines and schedules and stuff. That's why I was trying to tell you about like structure and stuff. So we got certain things set up. Every day we leave about 6:30ish, 6:45ish, depending on what time we leave. Kids help out with the dogs, trash, chores, all that kind of stuff. That's a good thing. That's giving them responsibility and something to do. Involving your kids in some of the travel and some of the other stuff out there, let them help out with planning some of that stuff. What's it going to hurt? If they want to go somewhere else and they want to go check something out and you're in the area, take a detour. Let them make that planning. Let them learn how to plan a trip and take that experience and then guide them along that. Guide them along the steps they need to take. Hey, we want to go check out the Grand Canyon while we're in Salt Lake City. I was told that. Cool. I would love to take you guys to the Grand Canyon, but Grand Canyon is like 9 hours away. So you got to think about geographically where you're at and what you want to do and help show them and help plant that seed that there's certain areas that you have to kind of strategically plan as you're going through stuff. So that's a good thing because then you're not only teaching them about geographical areas, you're teaching them about how to map stuff out. What's the best way to get there? If you're navigating a beast like this, you're navigating 68 feet, I think it is, that we measured out. 68 feet of RV and trailer, 13.6 tall, as big as a semi. So you got to think about that. Think about how to teach them that kind of stuff, reading maps, geographical areas, and history on why they want to go there. Why is it you want to go there? Is it just because you saw something on Facebook or YouTube or TikTok or whatever? Teach them that stuff. That's an opportunity for you as a parent to give them the opportunity of something they typically wouldn't have living in the sticks of bricks. Yes, you can travel. Yes, you can still do that kind of stuff. But when you're full-time RVing, you don't have to wait for anything. If you want to just pack up and leave next week and go traveling, you can. Plain and simple. But plan it right according to what you're going to be doing with your kids, or if you're single or whatever, you can do it. So, safety, one of the things we teach with our kids, and this is one of the things I teach all the kids, is safety on our vehicles. We have tires that are as big as a semi, quite literally. They are the same exact tires and rims that they use on semi trucks. If you don't know this, DOT stamps and requires them stamp a date code on there on every tire. Every tire that's out there, every tire on the road has a date code. And it's going to be combined with the year and the week it was made. And that's going to tell you how old your tires are. Typically, 4 to 5 years, you're changing your tires. That's the first safety thing I teach all the kids about. I show them the date codes. I show them how to look them up. I want them to interact with that a little bit and want them to see that kind of stuff so that they understand how to do that. Cars are the same way. You don't want dry rotted tires on a car. You guys have seen all the disastrous videos where a tire blows out, a wheel goes flying down the road. It can kill somebody and hurt somebody. Imagine a tire going out on this and disconnecting, or something happening to this with a motorcycle driving by or something else. That's very dangerous. I don't like riding in the left lane while passing a semi. I typically wait until I have enough room I can haul ass and I can get across there, because I don't want that tire blowing out in front of me. And being on the highway like that, that's probably my biggest fear, because some semi drivers just don't care. They will run those things until they blow, and then they'll just change them because it's just easier for them. So safety is a big thing. Also, teach them about like the fire safety. We have a couple fire extinguishers in here, one by the fridge, one by the kitchen, one by the front door. Teach them about fire safety, how to cook in a small enclosed area, what to do and what not to do, different things like that. So keeping your house clean too is a critical thing for safety, because you start getting too much stuff and you start accumulating too much stuff, you're going to trip over stuff. You're going to have all sorts of issues with it. You're just going to have so many issues with the whole cleaning issue if you don't keep up on it, because it's a small area. So make sure you keep it clean, keep stuff organized, keep cabinets locked. Do your best to try to keep everything organized in a fashion that you can remember and your kids understand where that stuff is too. Because in case of emergency, who knows where the first aid kit is? I do. I can guarantee you none of my kids are raising their hand, but I know where it's at. Where's the fire extinguishers? We made that very obvious. We want those in certain locations. Teach your kids about this kind of stuff, because in the long run, it's going to help you as well as make a better life for your kids and everything else. Because as they get older, then they're not sitting there like, well, I didn't know. Well, that doesn't count. Sorry. Like if you got a life or death situation, or you got something else going on, you got a fire started. Well, I didn't know what to do, so I just ran out of the RV and it just burnt down. But you can prevent some of that stuff. Let's teach them safety. And then if you're in the middle of a national forest and your RV catches on fire, what's that going to do? We've all seen Smokey the Bear, where he talks about wildfires and everything else. I think it's Smokey the Bear. Like that all has a trickle effect as far as what you're doing with that kind of stuff. So make sure you guys are paying attention to that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So I think this has been we're gonna keep it kind of a short one, probably about 30 or so. We're right about there. So it's been a good few weeks. I'm getting ready to head out to Salt Lake City again. And I'm doing that because our company's um, got a site out there that needs some attention. I'm going to help take care of what we need to. I used to be a site manager years ago. I'm going to kind of brush off my skills a little bit, go do that as well as doing my IT stuff. I'm going to help them get it moved to the new building, get everything up and going, and we're gonna do what we need to. That's what I do. I've done it for 20 years for this company. I'm going to continue to do it because I enjoy what I do. I enjoy going to work every day. I enjoy the people I'm around. So for me, that's a plus. The ability for me to be able to travel and go do this kind of stuff with the company, that's a huge thing for us. Jess is going to come out and visit every once in a while. We're going to try to get the boys out there as well too, so they can visit and see more of Salt Lake City and see some of the surrounding area, because the culture out there is completely different than anything on the East Coast. That I consider us more on the East Coast area because we're in the Florida, Alabama area. I know we're more central, but we're more east, to be honest. But like, it's a whole nother field out there. Like, it just, the culture in different areas, I think, is a huge thing for people to take advantage of and learn. Some areas you're not gonna ever want to go visit again. You're not gonna want to go check out. You're not gonna want even your kids around there, because you're gonna want to plant a whole different scenario as far as how life really should be. And I don't agree with that. I agree with letting your kids go explore and make their own opinions about what they learn and what they see in life. And as they get older, they're going to form those whether you like it or not. So for me, I want people to go out there, enjoy that kind of stuff. Work with your kids on stuff. Work with your kids on safety. It doesn't even have to be RV life. This could be everyday stuff. But this is more the same thing that you would do in the sticks and bricks. Nothing's changed. We still got chores. We still got responsibilities we got to take care of. We got upkeep on the RV that we got to have. No different than a house as far as taking care of the roof, changing windows, changing a roof, doing all the major stuff that you would typically do. We got the same things in the RV. No different. Just a different type of lifestyle as far as the ability to, we can lift our jacks and go wherever we want, take our stuff with us. And it was actually nice. We were in Salt Lake City and all of our stuff was with us, and we weren't sitting there like, well, I wish I would have brought this, and just kind of not be without it. So yeah, I really encourage people to jump in. I really encourage people to share this content, and we got more coming out. And let's talk about some of the other things that people want to talk about out there. What do you guys want to hear? What do you guys want to talk about? And let's start that whole series up as far as bringing people online, and even involving people in these conversations, so we can hear about some of their stories and some of the things they've done when they've been on the road, and what are some of the challenges and problems they've incurred when they're on the road, and how they overcome them, and all that other stuff. So yeah, I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate everybody sharing the content. You guys mean a lot to me. I'm going to continue to do these every Monday night, 6 p.m. Central Time. It'll actually be 5 p.m. Mountain Time where I'm at. I'm going through this stuff, so just bear with me as I start working through some of these details and some of these minor changes we're going to be doing. But yeah, see you guys next week. And if you guys did miss some of our previous videos, make sure you go check those out. I don't have them on here, but I'm going to do this because all the other YouTubers do it. They're somewhere around here. Go check out our channel, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.